Welcome back, chess kids, to the fun place that we call YouTube, where you can learn anything, but today you're going to learn chess. In fact, you're going to learn not from me. Oh no, you've learned from me before. You are going to learn from one of the top prodigies in the chess world, 17-year-old grandmaster Nihal Sarin, and his 5 best chess moves of all time. Now, a funny thing, I got ready to record this video and I realized ChessKid recorded the exact same video, top 5 moves of Nihal Sarin. I promise you, this happened independently. I can't believe it. But here's another funny thing. They picked 5 totally different moves, which means Nihal Sarin has 10 electric moves. And in fact, more than that. But, you know, the algorithm tells me you're not going to stick around for 30 minutes. So let's get right into it. Maybe you've seen the other 5. Now you're going to see the 5 best moves of Nihal Sarin according to this guy right here. Now, you've already seen one. Number 1, we're going to skip past because you already saw his fantastic knight moving in the shape of a W at the FIDE Grand Swiss. So number 1's already in the books. We're going to link to it if you haven't already seen it. So now we're on to number 2 already. And in this position, he's got pieces forming against the black king. His next move was so good that his opponent resigned. What is a move that would cause your opponent to resign here? Well, it's knight takes f7. Boom! Knight takes f7. And it is game, set, match if you're playing tennis. The queen is trapped. But FunMasterMike, the knight is hanging. Not really. If you take the first knight, well, I have a second knight. That's right. Much like Andrea Botez, I too know how the knight moves. And when the king moves anywhere on the board, obviously if you go here or here, knight takes e6 as a fork. But even if you go here, now knight takes officially traps the queen, just like before. So after the initial knight took on f7, black just threw in the towel. Black saw what was coming, and actually Nihal won that game on the 13th move. Ooh, unlucky number 13. Unlucky if you're black. It's actually pretty unlucky when you're playing Nihal Sarin. Okay, and we're on to Nihal Sarin's 3rd best move of all time. And in this position, I actually got to do this once. You can see how both knights want to use the f5 square, but it seems like this pawn is stopping the knights. But wait a minute. Didn't we just see that Nihal Sarin knows how his knights can be used in tandem? Yeah, we just saw it. And guess what? He's going to do it again because apparently the second opponent didn't learn from the first one. He plays knight on g to f5. Does it matter which knight? Actually, in this position, I don't think it does. When the knight goes to f5, a better capture, right? Because otherwise white sacrifices nothing. But there's a backup knight. Yeah, we just saw that. Okay, so he's down a piece. But after he takes this bishop, and bishop was an important defender, then he sacrifices another piece to draw the king away from the knight on f6. And after king takes, rook takes, now the problem for black, the king cannot go backward to get back to safety to either of these squares because rook takes f7 wins the queen. By the way, those are a pretty sad collection of black pieces over on the queen side. I don't think I've ever seen a larger army doing the least amount than these pieces, right? They're doing almost nothing over there. So the king went to g5 to tempo the rook, but then Nihal just saves his rook with check. And after king h6, the quiet move. I love when you can end the game with a quiet move. Queen e2, just quietly planning to put pieces over here on the king side. And yeah, there's no way you're surviving the queen entering the position, or rook entering might even win too. But queen h5 is going to be the next move. Even queen g4 probably wins, right? Because queen g4, the black pieces are so bad, you can't even stop rook h5 from happening after queen g4. The double quiet move. Well, we're going to quietly move on to Nihal's 4th best move. And this is just a little one-move endgame shot. You might wonder, how could an awesome move be played from such a simple chess position? Well, I do want to tell you that a lot of moves win here, although this game was played against Maxime Vachier-Lagrave, one of the best chess players in the world. In fact, the current Blitz World Champion, and this was a Blitz game. So do you want to give the current World Blitz Champion a chance to make a comeback in a Blitz game? No. Answer is you do not. In this position, you could save one of your pawns, or, you could even play the move a2, which does win. But the problem with a2 is that the king will slide over here to stop the pawn. Now, of course, you can give check, but the king moves back, and you got to take some pawns, and you've got to invade with your king, and you have to absorb some checks, and who knows how much time was on the clock. There's still a chance that black could mess up. So if we go back to the starting position, how did Nihal ensure that his pawn would get to the other side of the board? He played the unbelievably amazing rook to d1 check. Who saw that move coming? Now this is just enough to distract the white king. If the king takes, a2, peekaboo, and there's no way for the white rook to stop the pawn. You might think, oh, FunMasterMike, I'll come back and I'll skewer. The problem is promotion is with check. And if you make any other move in this position, for example, king here, that is actually your only other move, then pawn to a2, and my rook guards the promotion square when the pawn lands there. So even if you play this little skewer, we'll go ahead and make the moves on the board. I can push, you can play here, I can promote not to knight, that's too clever. If you promote to knight, the king will take your rook and you're probably going to lose the game. But if you promote to queen, yeah, I accept the fact I'm going to get skewered, but after king moves somewhere, I don't care where, you can see white has to give up the rook and black will have an extra rook. So pretty cool idea, rook to d1, and he found it in a blitz game. Okay, here we go. The fifth Nihal Sarin awesome move. This is in no particular order, but maybe it kind of is. I kind of like this one the most. In this position, Nihal only got third place in the best move of 2021 in a recent chess.com poll. This was number 3? Honestly, who voted for 2 moves better than this one? Now, you may not even know what the move is yet. In fact, if you don't know, it's going to be a little bit more joyous. So black to move, and actually, one of the reasons I like this one is because if you don't play the winning move in this one, you absolutely lose the game. I mean, look at Nihal's problem here. There's a battery leading to the bishop, and the bishop is horribly pinned. And even if you defend the bishop with a move like rook c8, white will just put pp on the pp, bishop e3, you're going to lose the bishop, and you're going to be down material. So that's not going to work. You're actually already down the exchange in the starting position. Now, your eyes might be glued toward this idea. Bishop takes f2 with a discovered attack. But of course, white's queen is guarded. So that's one of those ideas in chess where it doesn't work in the initial position, but you should file it away for the right moment. Can you find the winning move by Nihal Sarin? Well, if you're back, it probably means you didn't pause the video because you're watching this on your phone and you don't have time to do that. The winning move is bishop to f1. Bishop to f1, unbelievable move. Bishop to f1, and the weakness of the light squares is showing here. Obviously, queen to g2 is mate. If you take the bishop with your king, then queen to h1 is mate. I'm sure you guys are smart enough to see that without me actually moving the king to take the bishop. And if you take with the rook, then the rook no longer guards the queen, and you get to use the bishop takes f2 idea that I hope you did file away. Well, there you go. There's 4 of Nihal Sarin's best moves of all time. The 5th one came in an earlier ChessKid video, and the other 5, well, we covered those somewhere in chess.com land. The kid's a genius. He's probably even better at blitz than classical. If you don't already know his name, get to know it, because guy could be playing for the World Championship in a couple of years' time. We shall see. Until then, subscribe to ChessKid YouTube, and we will continue to highlight the best moves of the best players from Teenagerland.